Tall, leafy giants with gnarly roots erupting up through the green moss. The birds were too still, as if they hid, their little fluttering hearts beating frantically in anticipation. Anticipation of what? His father had stopped talking as if he too felt the tension. "Philip!" Alec twisted in his seat, but before he could utter another word, a body swung down from a tree. Holding tight to the end of the long rope, a man soared across the space to kick Alec Munro squarely in the chest. Searc's father flew with a grunt to land among the wet ferns. "Battle!" Searc yelled the battle cry as more men swooped down from trees around them. An ambush, and it was obvious that they were outnumbered. At least 4 men ran from various trees, while 3 others flew on ropes tied high in the tall oaks. Searc sent his dagger flying at the man who'd hit his dar. The blade pierced the enemy's skull from the back, and he toppled onto Alec, who cursed furiously. Searc turned his horse, Jarrak, with his knees as he drew out his long sword. The lethal song of it sliding from the scabbard shot warrior's instinct through Searc's muscles. His heart raced, feeding his body with a rush of blood and power. Every sense he had intensified. His magic swelled inside him, waiting to be allowed release like a hungry beast gnashing at the bars of a cage. He could hear the grunts and hisses of the enemy as they attacked. Several rose from under ferns. "The bastard killed Arthur!" The man's accent was local. 2 men turned toward Searc, and he dodged a dagger snapped from one of their fists. Searc whistled quickly for his wolf in case the beast was nearby, then swung his blade in an arc down along Jarrak's side. The well-trained horse danced nimbly on the spongy soil with a simple nudge of Searc's knees. A 3rd foe surged toward Dar as he rolled the dead man off him to stand. Did Dar even have his own sword? Searc urged Jarrak out of the melee and leapt down amongst the ferns. Philip and Edgar battled men half their ages, but fought with practiced strategy. John's thick arms bulged as he struggled against 3 attackers, and Searc ran to assist him. One turned to block Searc's strike from the back. With a quick twist and lunge, Searc felled him and hurled himself against the other man, knocking him down. Searc yanked the wet fern out of the man's face and spit. "You're a Davidson." The nephew of the last Davidson chief glared back at him. "'Tis time to rid the land of the chiefs of Munro!" And the man twisted his hand. But Searc felt the intent before the blade and grabbed the man's wrist, forcing it down to pierce the Davidson's own throat. Searc leapt to his feet and turned. 2 men still battled his father several yards away, blood dripping down his sire's face from a fresh gash above his eyebrow. The sight of the red against his dar's pale features, hardened with intense pain, caught Searc's breath in his chest. Obviously trained and large, the 2 Davidsons lunged together in an attempt to kill the proud warrior. Fury flashed through Searc with such force he barely registered the dark grey wolf, jumping into the chaos, ripping into the Davidson who knocked Philip to the ground. Searc held his sword and ran, stomping down the ferns to dash between trees, desperate to get to his father. Another jumped before him, blocking his aid. With a growl of sheer hatred, Searc embedded his sword into the man's gut, dispatching him to hell, and turned to see his dar fall to his knees under the assault. "Dar!" Searc bounded forward, thorns slashing his legs. Leaving his sword and dagger behind him stuck in his enemy, Searc grabbed the arms of the 2 Davidsons. Searc felt their pulses race, mimicking the battle lust within himself, incensing and freeing his magic. Red washed through Searc's vision as he stared at the men ready to gut his father, ready to bring anguish to his mother and war to his clan. The unnatural power surged upward through him, released like a flood shattering through a cracked dam. The heat of Searc's magic boiled out of his hands where he gripped, his fingers digging into their arms. "Blast!" one yelled and stared at his limb, where Searc held tight. Searc let his fury flood into the 2 Davidsons, grabbing hold of their very essence and reversing to pull it back into him. The one man's cry turned to a scream, and the other joined the first. They sank to the earth, kneeling before the wide eyes of Searc's father. "Searc!" Dar called. But the blood and power rushing in Searc's ears blocked all but a whispered stream of curses from his sire. The men beneath his hands drooped, their faces turning ashen. Wrinkles in their leathery skin deepened, their faces shriveling like sun-dried apples. And still Searc extracted the life from them. Their surprised eyes sank into their skulls as he continued to pull every drop of moisture from their bodies. He knew the moment they died, their hearts collapsing in on themselves, the blood drying in their veins, and yet he still held on to them.